to do a return program. So my accompanist today is Jana Schrader. She's very good. Say hi to Jana. And in the back is my good friend Dan Jones, who's going to take a movie of this whole thing. The first thing I want to sing for you is a song by a man named Pietro Jan. Pietro Jan was the organist at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City for 50 years. When Central Presbyterian Church installed its new organ in the 1960s, Jan was invited to be a part of the dedication ceremony. The song is called Gesù Bambino, and in Italian, of course, that means baby Jesus. If you happen to attend midnight mass at St. Patrick's in the 1920s and 30s, it's very likely that at the stroke of midnight, with no announcement, no prior announcement, you would hear the clarion tones of Giovanni Martinelli coming from the choir loft singing Gesù Bambino. Gesù Bambino is essentially a one-off on O Come All Ye Faithful, and at the end of each of the two verses, there's the chorus, O come, let us adore him. And what would make me very happy is if you would sing along with me, and I'll give you a little cue so you know where to come in. I'm going to sing it in Latin. If you know the Latin, by all means, jump in. If you don't, I know you know it in English, so just sing the English and it'll be wonderful. Excuse me, what are we?
Just outside the voices coming in.
Oh, okay. You going to do it? All right, super, thank you. Gesù Bambino.
Thank you.
Nel freddo e povertà è nato il santo pargolo che il mondo adorerà. Osana, Osana, cantano con giubilante cor. I tuoi pastori ed angeli, o Re di luce e amor. Venite adoremus, O come let us adore him. Venite adoremus. Second time I'll sing it a little bit different. You just sing what you know, it'll be fun. Oh, quel bambino piangere, non piangere Redentor, la mamma tua cullandoti, ti bacia o Salvator. Osana, Osana, cantano con giubilante cor. I tuoi pastori ed angeli, o Re di luce e amor. Venite adoremus, venite adoremus, venite adoremus.
adoremus Dominum,
You did great. There'll be another song a little later that will give you another chance to sing along. I really like it when you do that. This next song, oh, this is the song. Why did I think it was in the second half? I don't feel bad about looking at the program. I hope I have the songs memorized. I didn't try to memorize the program. Last weekend I was in Tulsa for a fundraiser for the Tulsa Opera, and that wouldn't have been enough hook to get me. I love Tulsa Opera, but that wouldn't have been enough hook to get me to go. But the hook that got me to go was at the end of the dinner, Sarah Coburn sang a recital. If you don't know who Sarah Coburn is, go to YouTube, type in her little name, Sarah with an H. Unbelievable. And so she sang 10 songs plus an encore, which they tried to make us think was impromptu, but it wasn't. I know they rehearsed it, because the pianist, the accompanist, was singing with us. And a couple of times I saw her, she picked up her little program and she goes, oh, what's next? Okay, I got it. This is a song, you may not recognize the song from the verse, but I know you'll recognize the chorus. So if you feel like singing along, be my guest.
I'm dreaming tonight of a place I love, even more than I usually do. And although I know it's a long road back,
song, I think you're probably familiar with it also. It's a song by John Jacob Niles, and Niles is kind of famous for setting sort of Appalachian songs, and this is a setting of an Appalachian folk song. I just learned this a couple of days ago, the origin of the song. It's 1933. There's an itinerant preacher and his family in Murphy, North Carolina, and they're camped out, they're squatting in the sort of square, the center of the town, and they're becoming a nuisance, and this town's trying to figure out, how do we get them out of here? And he wants to stay just long enough for one more sermon, you know, whatever you call it, tent revival thing, to get enough money for gas. He has this 8-year-old daughter, and there's a fountain in the city, in the center of the city. And she's standing up in front of the fountain, and she's singing 3 lines of a song. And Niles happens to be in Murphy at the time, probably mining for material. And so he hears her, and so he says, sing it again. So he gets his notebook out and starts in his little, whatever his musical shorthand is, taking it down. So she sings the 3 lines, that's all she knows. He says, sing it again. She does it 8 times, he pays her 25 cents for every repetition. I'm thinking the gas was taken care of at that point. And then he took what he got from her, those 3 lines, and he turned it into I Wonder as I Wonder.
I wonder as I wander out under the sky, how Jesus the Savior did come for to die, for poor ornery sinners like you and like I wonder as I wander out under the sky. When Mary birthed Jesus, 'twas in a cow stall, with wise men and farmers and shepherds and all. But high from God's heaven the stars' light did fall, and the promise of ages it then did recall. If Jesus had wanted for any wee thing, a star in the sky or a bird on the wing, or all of God's angels in heaven for to sing,